The Chevrolet Malibu is a car that is quite forgotten in the mid-size sedan class, and competing in this segment can sometimes be a challenge. Automakers like Honda and Toyota have many loyal customers, and you have competitors from nearly every non-premium branded automaker, which can make it pretty tough. So is the 2015 Malibu a great fit for the mid-size sedan class, or is it just another one to forget? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now here goes the key fob for the Malibu. You do have a switchblade key, and then you do have your unlock, your lock, to release your trunk, and then you have your remote engine start and your panic button. Now essentially there's not much that has changed about the Malibu for the 2015 model year since the vehicle received a pretty big update just last year. Now the hybrid powered Malibu Eco is no longer available, but all Malibus receive a 4G data connection with Wi-Fi hotspot capability. Now as far as styling goes on the Malibu, it is quite conservative and it really won't set any souls on fire, but it's a pretty handsome looking car. You do have these pretty nice looking projectors. Don't expect to find LED daytime running lights, that's not yet available on the Malibu. And then it's just a very classy and restrained looking mid-size sedan, but it's certainly not one of the best looking ones. Now it is a white exterior color with a half cloth and half leather gray interior. Power driver's seat with power recline and power lumbar. Now of course a full leather interior is optional on the Malibu. Now stepping on inside of the vehicle here, the step-in height is fairly low, what you would expect from a mid-size sedan. This is no SUV here. But you're greeted with a very stylish cabin design and decently high quality looking too. I love all the curves going on the dashboard here. Very interesting design. And at nighttime it actually lights up in blue, which is pretty cool. And what you're hearing is a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. Now you do have a full leather-wrapped steering wheel. Coming to your transmission, you have a 6-speed automatic with manual shiftability. No paddle shifters here though. Putting the vehicle into reverse displays your rear view camera with guidance lines, and you also do have trajectory. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the lights, and you do have your fog lights and the hazards too. Automatic driver's side window, and let's go ahead and pop up the hood and check out the engine bay. Heated exterior mirrors with LED turn signal indicators. Pretty conservative looking wheel designs here. Halogen projector beam headlights with your halogen fog lights. Now under the hood here you have the optional powertrain, which is a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo, producing 259 horsepower at 5,300 RPM and 295 pound-feet of torque at 5,200 RPM, and EPA estimates being 21 in the city and 30 on the highway, running on premium unleaded fuel. Now your base powertrain is going to be a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. Both powertrains in the Malibu are decently strong and adequate for your daily commute. And the MPG numbers are pretty average for the class. Now competitors of the Malibu, you have the vehicles in the mid-size sedan class This includes the likes of the Toyota Camry, Ford Fusion, Honda Accord, Chrysler 200, Nissan Altima, Volkswagen Passat, Subaru Legacy, and the Mazda 6. Trims of the Malibu start at the LS, which starts at $22,340. Then you have the LT, which starts at $23,610. And then the top of the line LTZ starts at $28,195. Coming to the rear, you have your rear window defroster, rear reflectors too. Definitely takes styling cues of the Camaro. With its squarish taillight design. Now EPA estimates, like I said, are 21 in the city and 30 on the highway. Total vehicle price is $30,075. Power windows, mirrors, and your power door locks. And let's go ahead and rev it up. Now, as far as build quality and materials go inside of the Malibu here, the last generation Malibu was pretty bad in terms of its build quality and materials on the interior. And you would find hard plastics everywhere, and the panels didn't really match up together very well either. You would find a lot of panel gaps. But when they introduced this generation Malibu in 2013, they really stepped up their game. Now, it's not class leading, but it's miles ahead of the last generation, and it's pretty average for the class, to be honest. Now, you do have soft touch materials up here on the upper door panel. The mid door panel is also decently padded. However, my biggest complaint is the armrest. It is pretty hard, I have to say, but it looks like it's soft to the touch. You do have this nice stitching, however. And then when you get up onto the dashboard, you have this nice stitched portion. It's also pretty padded in certain areas too. And the build quality is pretty average for the class too. Now, coming to the steering wheel design, GM has been using this steering wheel on a lot of their products for quite some time now, and it's getting a little dated, I have to say, but it's still a very functional steering wheel. Everything works well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Now, you do have your cruise control buttons right here, your voice recognition, Bluetooth phone controls, and your steering wheel mounted audio controls. Coming down here, you will also find your tilting and telescoping steering wheel. It has a pretty nice range of adjustment on the telescoping, I have to say. Now, coming right here, you will find your cup holder right here too, the brake. And then the center console lid is also nicely padded and stitched. And then down there is where you will find your USB port and auxiliary input and a 12-volt power outlet. Center console storage is okay, not the best, however. Up there you have your auto-dimming rearview mirror with OnStar. You also do have garage home link, then your interior illumination lighting. Now, coming to your AC controls, it is pretty easy to figure out. You have your fan speeds right here, different zones, and then your temperatures. Then you also do have a 12-volt power outlet down here, and this is where you'll find your traction control off button. Now, coming to the main head unit, you have the Chevrolet MyLink system, and I quite like this head unit a lot. Now, one interesting little feature, if you want to impress your friends, you can actually flip this up, and it reveals a little storage compartment. Pretty cool there. Now, your different sources include AM, FM, XM satellite radio for your media, Pandora, Stitcher, internet radios, which you have to access through your data connection. And then you have your CD player, which is your optical disc drive, and then you have your USB port, auxiliary input, and Bluetooth streaming audio. Now coming over here, you also do have your weather. And then you have your configuration settings, which you can change many different settings, vehicle settings, display, phone, various amounts of things. And then coming to these buttons down there, this is like a little quick way you can change your source. And then you have your volume button right here, and then your tune knob too. And I love how Chevrolet went with traditional knobs and buttons for some of the controls instead of touch sensitive buttons, which is always nice to have. And then you have your fuel prices, and then pictures, quick info like audio, movie show times, nearby fuel stations, and your 5-day forecast for your weather. Now coming to the weather, it also shows you the humidity, UV index, and then the wind too. You can do a 3-hour, 6-hour forecast or a 5-day forecast. And then you also do have your exterior temperature readout on the top right there and your digital clock. So overall, I really do love the rendering of this system, as well as the graphics and the lightning quick response, and its decent user friendliness too. Navigation is also optional on the Chevrolet MyLink system too. Now coming to your gauges, they are pretty easy to read, but a little boring for my taste, but it does get the job done quite well. You have your RPM gauge, and then your speedometer, and then your fuel gauge. Now coming to that little center screen right there, this gives you your trip information, what gear you're in, and then your direction of travel. Shows you various amounts of vehicle information like your battery voltage, and it also gives you fuel information too. But it's a pretty basic little system here, not too much. Now as far as visibility goes in the Malibu, it is okay, but it's not best in class. The rearward visibility, the C-pillar is a little big, and the side glass area is okay on the front windows. However, outward visibility can be a little bit better. Now as far as seating comfort goes, it is lacking a little bit of support on the side bolsters and right here too. However, thigh support is okay. Now the seats aren't that firm or very plush either. They're actually just right, I have to say. Now I did find quite a comfortable driving position, and the seat does go pretty far back. Now driving the Chevrolet Malibu, to be honest, it's kind of like the American Toyota Camry, or in other words, the steering is fairly numb and doesn't offer a whole lot of feedback, and the ride in general is pretty comfortable. Now most people shopping in the mid-size sedan class aren't looking for an entertaining car to drive. They're looking for a car that's very comfortable and very smooth and offers a decent amount of power, and certainly there is adequate amounts of power from the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, but the 2.5-liter also offers a decent amount of power too. So overall, if you're looking for a very comfortable and smooth ride, as well as a car that is pretty easy to drive, the Chevrolet Malibu does fit the bill quite well. However, cars that are more entertaining to drive include the Ford Fusion as well as the Mazda 6. Alright, and let's go ahead and shut it down. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the vehicle. I do love how the trunk opens all the way up. Now these seats do fold down 60-40 split. Cargo capacity isn't all that great. I'm quite surprised. Build quality and materials do follow through in the rear. Now, sitting back here, it is pretty snug, I have to say, and it's certainly one of the smallest rear seats in the mid-size sedan class, right next to the Chrysler 200, which is also pretty small. Now you do have dual map pockets and a power port right there too, which is a pretty useful feature to have. And then you have your cup holders and storage right here too. Now, if you're looking for more roomier mid-size sedans, vehicles like the Honda Accord, Toyota Camry, and Volkswagen Passat are much better in terms of overall space. It's pretty snug. And it also doesn't help that you have this pretty large tunnel back here, and this car isn't even rear-wheel drive. Power adjustment on the passenger seat, but you do have manual recline. Here's your glove box. Nice and damped. So the 2015 Chevrolet Malibu may not be the best choice in the midsize sedan class, or may not have any standouts in any particular area, but it's certainly a solid choice in the midsize sedan class. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.